If you think you can, then you can. And if you think you cannot, you cannot. You are welcome back to this maths class. Don't forget that we have looked at how to sketch diagram related to question on bearing and distances. And most of this diagram, all of the diagram has to do with triangles. And we should ask ourselves the question, under which circumstances are we going to use Pythagoras theorem, sine rule, or cosine rule? And that's what we want to look at today. Now, let's look at this one. If your diagram look this way, in such a way that you have a right angle triangle. So what you are going to use is simply Pythagoras theorem. Don't forget that this is the longest side. According to the Pythagoras theorem, you see the longest side, which is hypotenuse square. This is opposite, and this is adjacent. AB, BC square. So this has to do with Pythagoras theorem. And if you like, you can represent this one by x, y, z. So that instead of writing AC square, you just write x square. AB square, y square, plus BC square, which is z square. So under this circumstance, you can use this theorem, Pythagoras theorem. And in this case, two of the sides must be known, either y and z, or z and x, or x and y. Two of the sides must be known. That's the first condition. Now, let's look at this second one. If you look at this, this is A, and this is the side that is opposite to A. So let's call it small a. This is B, and this is the side that is opposite to B. Let's call it small b. This is C, capital C, and this is the side that is opposite to it. Let's call it small c. Now, if your diagram look this way, you are going to use sine rule. In this case, it is not a right angle triangle, as you can see. So the rule that you should follow is A all over sine A this is the rule you should follow. A all over sine A is equal to B all over sine B is equal to C all over sine C. Now, all these A are the sides, where capital A, capital B, capital C are the angle in degree. So in this, the condition here for you to use sine rule is that the first one, it is not a right angle triangle. Then the second condition is that either you know two angles and one of the sides. You must know two angles and one of the side for you to get the other one. Or you know two sides and one of the angle that is opposite to it, to the other angle. So what I mean by that is, if you know this one and you know this one, then you should know this angle or this angle. So under that condition, you can use sine rule. Now, that is that. Now, we want to look at the last one. Under which condition are we going to use cosine rule? And what is the cosine rule? The cosine rule says that a square then it can also be written this way. It can also be written this way. So this is the cosine rule. And under which condition are you going to use this? It must not be a right angle triangle. And how do you recognize a right angle triangle? Once you see this sign, it shows right angle triangle. Or it may be that you are told. So, or you calculate in such a way that the angle there is right angle triangle. It is under that condition you use Pythagoras theorem. So you don't use sine rule and you don't use cosine rule. That's the first condition. The second condition to use cosine rule, you must have access to two sides and included angle. For example, if they say this one is 7 and this is 11 and you have 24 degree here, so you have side here which is 7 and you have another side here which is 11, then you have included angle which is 24 degree. So in this case, you can use cosine rule. Or to put it in another way, We put it in another way, it can be here. And you have, let's say you have 9 here, you have 10 here, and you have certain angle here. So this one is called included angle. It's like the angle is sandwiched between this side and this side. So under this condition, you use cosine rule. So when next we meet, you now begin to apply this rule to problem on bearing and distances.